Muhammadu Buhari vows that he will ensure the country does not experience another NSAS protest culminating in lootings and destruction of lives and properties at the National Security Council meeting. As a group known as the Movement of the People strategized, asking for good governance. And the governor of Ebonyi State, Dave Umahi, dumps the PDP for the APC. He gives his reason for his decision, but we'll find out shortly. Hello everyone and welcome to Politics Today on China's Television. I'm Seun Kuti. The governor of Ebonyi State, Mr. Dave Umahi, has dumped the People's Democratic Party PDP for the ruling All Progressives Congress APC. The governor made known his decision to exit the PDP today in Abakaliki, the capital of Ebonyi State. The governor says part of his reason for leaving the PDP is that the southeast region of the country has suffered injustice and the main opposition party. There have been speculations about Governor Umahi's political move over the past weeks. The governor was reported to have told the national leadership of the PDP some days ago that he was leaving the fold. He was also reported to have claimed that he would join the ruling APC, which he claimed would protect the interests of the southeast region in the 2023 elections. Before we get into our conversation tonight, which is about the national issues of national security and the outcome of the National Security Council meeting, where the president says he would not allow what played out sometimes in October to happen again, the street protests that could culminate into destruction of lives and property. Also, we shall be discussing the resurgence of movement of the people. You remember that particular group made popular by the legendary musician Seun Kuti. His son, Seun Kuti, and a couple of others have come together to resurrect that group. What are their plans? We'll find out right here on the program. But first, let's check out some of your political roundup stories.
In view of the defection of Governor Dave Umahi of Ebonyi State, a chieftain of the All Progressives Congress and Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Ogbonnaya Onu, says efforts are underway to ensure all 5 states of the southeast region produce governors come 2023. The minister made the disclosure in Abuja while addressing journalists after a meeting with the Imo State Governor, Mr. Hope Uzodinma, APC State Chairman from the Southeast Zone, and some serving ministers with the Ebonyi State Governor.
We are rebuilding the party in the southeast. We have one governor now, but we are working so that by 2023 we will be able to have 5. We will be able to have 5 governors who are APC.
The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has arraigned 2 lecturers of the University of Uyo over allegations of electoral fraud in the 2019 general elections. The Electoral Umpire's office in Uyo at a press conference today says after an investigation into the allegations of electoral fraud, which reveals that some ad hoc and permanent officials of INEC, some of whom have been dismissed, are indicted to have manipulated the outcomes of the polls. The senior lecturers who served as ad hoc officials have been identified as Professor Peter Ogba and Professor Ignatius Uduk. Governors of the South-South region have met with some leaders of the region at the River State Government House in Port Harcourt. The agenda of the meeting, though not disclosed, is suspected to be connected with the issue of artisanal gold mining in parts of the country under the Presidential Gold Mining Development Initiative. The meeting is expected to harmonize positions, provide clarity, and come up with a common position over the development of the region.
Well, tonight, our attention is on the matter of national security and the agitation for good governance. Well, it's a two-edged conversation. Today, after the National Security Council meeting, President Buhari vows that it will ensure the country does not experience another NSAS protest culminating in lootings and destruction of lives and properties. This is according to the Minister of Police Affairs, Mohammed Dingyadi, who briefed State House correspondents after the national security meeting chaired by the President at the State House in Abuja. The minister says that the Security Council notes with dismay the increased cases of banditry and kidnapping, especially in the northwest and north central parts of the country, and have resolved to better equip the police with modern-day technology to handle the menace while maintaining a humane posture in handling security issues. He urged families of victims of kidnapping to stop paying ransom to kidnappers and let security agents do their jobs. Let's take a listen to the Minister of Police Affairs.
Mr. President assures Nigerians that he will do whatever it takes to ensure that the repeat of NSAS protests does not occur in Nigeria again. Mr. President has assured that all stakeholders will be involved in the process of maintaining peace in the country, particularly the youth, community leaders, traditional rulers, politicians, public servants, religious leaders, etc. The federal government will continue to maintain its democratic, humane, and just postures in handling security matters in the country. What we are saying is that government will continue to dialogue, government will continue to listen, government will continue to carry all stakeholders along, ensuring that there is no repeat of what happened that destroyed a lot of properties of public and private individuals in this country. The meeting noted the need to pay greater attention to the police in the discharge of its functions of maintaining peace in the country in the areas of equipment and modern technology. You see, we always encourage people to report these cases to the police, because the moment you take it upon yourself and continue to pay ransom, this will continue to occur. People are paying ransom, and as long as we continue to pay ransom, these things will continue to occur. But if you report these issues to the police will continue to pursue these people, and in most cases, we succeed in freeing these victims.
That's the Minister of Police Affairs. Well, that happened in Abuja, in the nation's capital. But back here in Lagos, Nigerian musician Seun Kuti and the youngest son of the late famous Afrobeat legend, Fela Kuti, has revived a political movement of his father, the Movement of the People, as part of his drive to call for better governance in the country, as well as an end to police brutality. Seun Kuti was at a press conference at the Kalakuta Museum in the Ikeja area of Lagos said the days in which members of his family were being harassed by security operatives appear to have returned. He vowed to mobilize citizens to rise and defend their rights under the aegis of the revived Movement of the People. Well, let's get our conversation tonight started. You hear Seun Kuti much later on the program tonight. We'll touch on what there's a nexus in the conversation for tonight. The plans and the agitation of the Movement of the People, the NSAS protesters, the issues of national security. There is a connection in all of that. And the stance of the federal government saying we will not allow this sort of situation to reoccur. So we're getting the expertise of Mr. Austin Iwa, a retired senior police officer. He joins us from our Abuja studio. Thank you so much, Mr. Iwa, for joining us tonight. Let's begin the conversation by giving us your view on the stance of the federal government when the president says the government will ensure that they prevent future NSAS protests culminating into destruction of properties.
Thank you for having me, Seun, on this program. We need to understand that the End SARS protest was spontaneous. There were indications already in the air amongst communities, amongst several young people in the country that something was about to happen. So it was a spontaneous reaction to the series of complaints against police brutality and police misuse of firearms and police mistreatment of citizens. As it is now, those indicators have been taken care of by the government. The government made sure that all the demands of the End SARS protesters were taken care of immediately. And so I do not see where the so-called emerging End SARS protest is going to come again, because the indicators are not there.
But it does look, Mr. Iwa, that the agitation that we saw in those young Nigerians was more than police brutality. They were also asking for good governance. For example, the movement of the people led by Seun Kuti, the musician and rights activist, they are asking for good governance. It does look like we might be seeing a return of such street protest. In fact, they said in that press conference today that they will be protesting in Abuja and Lagos.
Yeah, of course. We know very well that the End SARS protest was a tipping point. It was a tipping point of a lot of issues that had been on ground, including good governance and police governance system. However, this is a democracy. I mean, anybody can come out and protest on whatever they want to do. The movement of the people should be a democratic organization, and so they have all they need, their rights to protest whatever system of governance that they want to see in the country. So I don't see any fears or any problem with the emerging political movement or socio-political movement of the movement of the people. I think it's a good thing for this country that people should speak out with regards to governance and what is happening to our daily lives.
How easy will it be for the government when they say they plan to stop such future protests, street protests? Would it be very easy for the government, and how would they be able to go about stopping such protests?
Well, it's very simple to stop such protests. I mean, by addressing the issues, the underlying issues that give birth to this protest in the first place. When government addresses these issues, then there won't be any reason for any protest again. People are talking about good governance. If the government institutes processes and systems that will usher in good governance for this country, I don't see any reason why anybody should protest. If the government ushers in a police reform that focuses on accountability, that focuses on police respecting the rights of our citizens, there won't be any reason for any protest again. So the indicators are really not there now for anybody to come out and say he wants to protest.
But in the face of the law, when government says they will prevent street protest, we saw as what Seun Kuti was saying earlier in that press conference, that his family was being harassed because they actually changed the venue from the African Shrine to Kalakuta at Kalakuta Museum. It does look like there is a movement to stopping or making sure that people do not go to the street. In the face of the law, how easy will this be?
Well, I'm sure that the movement for the people, that the security agencies may have some information that we are not privy to ensure that such meeting don't take place. However, what I think is that perhaps security agencies talk that it will also be an avenue for miscreants to come and gather and then begin to agitate, another form of agitation. So I don't think that we have any problem right now, because government, as it is, even with the meeting that was held today, government is focused on addressing the core issues that have created the problems we find ourselves today.
Let's take a breather, and during that break, we should be able to hear from Seun Kuti. We're expecting him to join us at some point on the program tonight to know the agenda of the movement of the people, which they say may culminate into a political party. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk more. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us right here on the program. The agitation and the agenda of the movement of the people, a resurgence of the Seun Kuti political agenda, and of course, his son, Seun Kuti, might be joining us tonight on the program. Of course, we have from our Abuja studio, Mr. Osiniwa, a retired senior police officer. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Let me get your view. There seems to be some kind of mistrust between the people and the police or the government in general. How can you, or how do you suppose that the government can bring back the trust or can build trust and bridge that gap between the people and the government again?
I think that bridge was laid today at the national security meeting, when the president said that from now going forward, communities, traditional rulers, youth leaders, security agencies will form an integrated approach towards providing security to each other. One of the ways of building trust is engagement, engaging with people constantly, looking at the underlying issues, the underlying challenges that people face, and bringing together, harnessing resources to deal with these problems in a more accountable, in a more empowering way. So I think that bridge was laid today by the president through making sure that every facet of our community was involved in providing safety and security. And you know, the good thing about this kind of structure is that it creates accountability between all the participating organizations or persons that are involved in it. So with accountability, you are able to question, you are able to respect individual rights, you are able to recognize the challenges of different facets of the communities that we come together to deal with it. Through that method, we'll be able to build some trust, but it's going to take time. It's not something that can be achieved within a short period of time.
Government does not want a return of protests to the streets. But how can you manage? You have an experience in policing in Nigeria. How can the government or the police manage, should there be a return of street protests?
Well, it's through engagement, like we have said, through engagement. Already, government and the police need to understand the factors that lead to protest and to nip them in the bud. If we know these factors, if we know the underlying challenges that people come out to protest for, and government addresses these challenges, I think that we'll be able to contain whatever protests that may emerge in the future. And I think that is the approach that government is taking now.
All right.
Before now, the approach was like, you know, people just coming out to protest and nobody cared about them, nobody listened to them, nobody took a particular interest in the economic welfare of people, in the social conditions of people. But now, from what we get, and even from what the president talked about, involving youth in some socio-economic activities, I think that when these issues are addressed one after the other, or in a collective way, we'll be able to manage these situations. But of course,
all right. So, Mr. Iwa, just for a moment, I understand that
there may be.
All right. I understand that Seun Kuti has since joined us on the program, the leader and the convener of the movement of the people. Seun, thank you so much for joining us tonight on Politics Today on Channels Television. We played a sound bite of your press conference earlier today, and you were telling Nigerians the agenda that you are part of it is that you might get back to the street in Abuja and in Lagos, and you've mentioned some of the members of your group. But in the face of what the federal government is saying, that they do not want a return of street protest. If you return to the street, wouldn't that amount to civil disobedience?
Well, returning to the streets is not the agenda of the movement of the people. This is not a protest organization. The agenda of the movement of the people is strictly political. But what we are saying is that the movement of the people is created to capture the energy of such protest by the Nigerian people, because the right of the Nigerian people to protest is enshrined in our constitution as is, except the government is going to decide to start changing it. So, I believe generally that it is not about what we decide, it's what the Nigerian people decide. But the MOP is here to politically capture this emotion, to capture this energy. Because the energy of the Nigerian people must also be politically articulated. And that is what the MOP is for.
So you're planning to culminate into a political party. When are you planning to register with INEC?
Well, first of all, our plan is to register in the minds of the Nigerian people. That is the most important registration for us. Whatever we are doing in the other side in terms of registering officially is part of our goals and our process. But our most important goal right now is registering in the minds of the Nigerian people.
You are pushing a political alternative within the Nigerian political space. How do you then describe movement of the people's agenda or political philosophy?
Well, our agenda is one of liberation. We believe that we have to create a platform that can help the Nigerian people to achieve their full potential in their own country. Something that can bring about the just hopes and aspirations of every Nigerian, so that is a program to capture the potential and the talents of millions of Nigerian people that are just left behind to waste away by our ruling elites. I think that for me is our number one and our ultimate goal and agenda. What was the other thing you asked?
So basically, I was asking about your political philosophy because that's what you have explained. So you basically are planning to get people to run for office in 2023. Are you planning to run for office yourself?
Well, let's wait and see. I'm not going to say anything about that now. But my comrades, all my colleagues in the organization, they know my political interests and what my wishes are politically. But yeah. It's something that I am heavily involved in, and so many organizations that are grounded in Pan-Africanist and also socialist ideologies are coming together to create a true alternative for the Nigerian people, something that can begin to give people a different way, a different option to how we can reach Uhuru in this country. Because the problem for me really is that we've been independent for about 50 years or more now. Even going close to 60, we're not 60, yeah. And not a single problem in Nigeria that affects the people of this country has been solved. Be it the problem of education, transportation, healthcare, housing. None of our problems have been solved. None at all. None of the plethora of problems that affect the Nigerian people have been solved, But in the personal lives of our politicians, they've been able to use state capture and our own commonwealth to solve all their own personal problems. Even the problems of the people in their family that are not yet born.
All right. Seun, let's wrap up the conversation now. I understand that we have about 30 seconds to do that. I wanted to know whether this movement is linked to the NSAS protest. If you can quickly answer that, and also tell us, you said in your press conference that some members of your family are being harassed. And I want to ask, do you have the blessings of your siblings and the Kuti family to resurrect the movement of the people?
Well, as it's called, the movement of the people belong to the people. I don't think it's something that my family is laying claim to and say, oh, you need the Kutis before you do it. I think they support anything that I do politically that is positive, but I don't really think permission from anybody is what the people need right now, be it the Kuti family, be it the government, to carry out what is necessary for us to do right now at this point in our history. And also the police, they're even still at shrine right now, from what I'm hearing, so it's not like I'm saying like they are intimidating and harassing us, what people must realize is that what we called today wasn't a protest. It wasn't any kind of procession marching on the streets. It was a meeting inside a private place, the shrine. But a meeting we wanted the people of Nigeria to attend, to listen to what we had to say. But it's a shame that since the Nigerian politicians never address the Nigerian people anyway, apart from doing elections, they don't understand the importance of having such public meetings for the people of Nigeria to speak.
Seun Kuti, Afrobeat musician, younger son of the late legendary musician Fela Kuti. Thank you so much, Seun, for your time tonight. And I must sincerely also thank the retired AIG of Police, Austin Iwa, who joined us and spoke to us from Abuja City. Thank you indeed for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Well, and that's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Seun Kuti. Bye for now.